We need him. If you wish to see the truth, then hold no opinions for or against anything. Sosan. One of the loveliest experiences I have ever had was when I acted as an interpreter for a little German boy in the first grade. His name was Nikolaus. Nikolaus was 6 years old and full of piss and vinegar. He liked me at first when he didn't understand any English, and I could sit next to him in each class and translate for him whatever the teachers said. But then they started giving him tests, psychological, and poking him around, and he couldn't take it. His nerves got frazzled, and he let it out on me. Then he was a holy terror. I had to watch out for him at every turn. If I said the slightest thing to him, he flew right off the handle and began yelling at me. Eventually, I just backed away and left him alone. I saw he didn't need me anymore, and it was fine with me. Nikolaus had blonde hair and blue eyes. He wore glasses, and when I looked at him, it seemed to me that he was slightly cross-eyed, but I could be wrong. Maybe his eyes just didn't always see straight ahead. He also seemed to mumble slightly when he spoke, as though his mouth were full of marbles. But who knows, maybe it was me. I liked him, but to tell you the truth, I liked it better when I stayed away from him, kept him, that is, at arm's length, maybe even 2 arms' length, especially outside on the playground when the whole class had recess. The kids called it recreation. Whenever Nikolaus got a hold of the basketball or the soccer ball, I ran. I applied for the job in the principal's office. She said they had a little German boy in the first grade whose mother was German and whose father was an American. Would I like to sit in the first grade 32 hours a week and interpret for him? I said, whoa, let's not get carried away. I'll sit in the first grade for 14 hours a week and interpret for him. You should hire another interpreter for the other 18 hours. And so they did. A young girl sat with him 18 hours a week, and I sat with him 14 hours a week, every day in the first grade. And I tell you, it was like sitting on a time bomb. He was a difficult little boy, 6 years old, as I said. He stood about 4 feet 3 inches tall, glasses, and now I remember had buck teeth. That's what gave me the feeling of marbles. I remember, too, his hair was shaved close on the sides of his head, and the rest of his hair flopped over and down, giving him a strange look, which, together with his glasses that distorted his eyes, made him appear like some monster from outer space, like in that film Alien. Nikolaus, or as his mother called him, Nico. And did he pack a wallop? I sat on the floor and interpreted for him. Half the time, he didn't believe what I said. The other half of the time, he was fighting me to do his own thing. And so I wound up helping all the other 21 girls and boys in the class. I would help them with their English, their reading, and with their math. I also would help them with their writing. I went to every class with Nikolaus, computer, library, art, and I would sit with the first graders and do exactly what they did. Music class, I would sit with them on the high risers. I was the biggest in the group, and when we would all stand up and sing, here I was standing 2 heads taller than they were. I was the big boy in the class. The music teacher would glance over at me and see me singing, and the two of us would simultaneously begin to laugh. In art class one day, one of the first graders came over to me and looked at me at my drawing. He said, "Dick, how come you know how to stay within the lines?" I laughed and said, "Joey, when you're as old as I am, you too will know how to stay within the lines." Towards the end of the school year, in April, Nikolaus had learned to speak and understand English, and I realized when they told me they no longer needed me as an interpreter that I had taught myself out of a job. They kept me on as a teacher's assistant and dropped my salary from $15.87 an hour to $8.43. But they didn't let me go because the teacher, as well as all the kids, loved me. They would come in the morning at show and tell, come up to me and throw their arms around my legs and waist. "Dick, you want to see my snake? You want to see my rock? You want to see my doll?" That was a great experience for me. When the teacher called all the kids together and finally told them that they were letting me go because Nikolaus no longer needed me, they all screamed out in unison and as one voice, "If Nikolaus doesn't need Dick any longer, we need him." That was the high point and the climax of my sitting in the first grade, 14 hours a week, every day, with 21 6- and 7-year-olds. They were just great. They gave me a going away party, and each of the kids made a card for me with a broken heart on it. A heart cracked jaggedly right in half. I have kept these cards till this very day, and to this day I have never forgotten Nikolaus, or Nico, as his mother called him.